So, one of the joys of dealing with narcissists and narcissistic abuse and narcissistic personality disordered individuals is, not only being subjected to their constant conflict, but always sort of having that gnawing confusion going on in your mind of whether or not it's you that's the crazy one or them or you know what I mean? Even when you know about narcissistic abuse and everything, it's always going to be there because it doesn't make any sense to the mind. So you're always like, is it me? Is it me? Is it me? Even though you know it's not you, you're still driving yourself. You're asking yourself what's going on here because this isn't normal. And the truth is, it's not normal. It's their behavior is not normal. And so I kind of wanted to just speak on that a little bit today, and try to like unwind, the narcissist's narrative in your own mind, right? Because part of their manipulation schemes is to convince you that there is something wrong with you and that that there's nothing wrong with the narcissist and what the narcissist is doing is normal, right? I've actually had my sister do this to me a number of occasions, trying to justify the narcissist's behavior, even though she witnessed it. But, what a lot of these people don't understand, probably the narcissists and certainly the enablers and the codependents, is that, there's a healthy, rational way to deal with any issue that arises, right? There's a healthy, rational way to communicate your needs or your wants, or your expectations, for example. And there's an unhealthy way to do it. There's an ineffective way to do it. And the narcissist is always doing these things in an unhealthy, ineffective way. Constant conflict is not normal, right? It's not normal to be constantly confused and constantly wondering, if you're wrong or if it's the narcissist or any of that. It's not normal to constantly feel sort of confused and sort of bad on the inside and like kind of worried, like you've got some anxiety, but you feel some shame and you're kind of walking on eggshells and you're kind of confused as to what's going on. That's not normal. In fact, that's a form of psychological and emotional abuse that's being done to you by the narcissist. So if you're ever wondering, no matter what the situation is that arises with the narcissist or the situation that you've been in with the narcissist, if you find yourself constantly confused or wondering, what's going on, I mean that should only happen once in a while, right? For the most part, you shouldn't be constantly wondering what's going on or what someone's, doing or asking or whatever. It's not normal and it's not healthy, right? A healthy, rational person isn't going to be constantly causing problems and constantly causing conflict and constantly making you wrong for every little thing that you do. They're not going to be constantly yelling at you. What's normal and rational and healthy is, for someone to communicate. If there's a problem, you can communicate that. Now, you can get upset if you address something clearly and upfront, and the person still, refuses to respect your boundaries or do what you asked or something like that. But even in those cases, you may not like them being upset at you, but you're not confused. You see the difference? Your mind knows exactly why they're angry and what's going on and what you can do to change it, right? There's no confusion there. But, confusion is sort of the narcissist's bread and butter because it constantly keeps you like sort of off. Like they kind of knock you off your emotional and psychological balance so that they can try to keep control of the narrative. They want you to be confused about reality so that you can listen to their reality. And that's how brainwashing fundamentally works. And that's what's happening to you, right? In one way or another. They're like constantly yelling and screaming at you, trying to convince you in many different ways that 1 + 1 = 3. And you're like, wow, well, logically, I know that's not true, and it's kind of crazy. It's completely crazy, actually. But, the narcissist yells these things with such conviction that it's like, I guess some people actually believe it. I've seen that, and that's how cults work. Some people are susceptible to the cult leaders, crazy yet seemingly confident behavior in what they're saying and what they believe. But, you just got to look forget about what the narcissist is saying. Look to how you're feeling, right? Let me give you a quick example. So a few years ago, I was actually back living with my narcissistic mother because I ran into some financial difficulties and, you know how it goes. So we had a family dog and the dog was older and it was getting ready to be put down, right? Like it was coming to that final stretch there. And one day, out of the clear blue sky, my narcissist just out of nowhere, without any communication to me, just has the dog put down. Now, as crazy as that is, and I say crazy just because she didn't communicate to me that she was going to do that. Like a rational, healthy person or a caring person would say, hey, I'm going to put the dog down. Did you want to say your final goodbyes or something, right? Or at least communicate something. So an entire day goes by and she doesn't say anything to me. She doesn't communicate what she did, even after the fact of what she did. And I'm busy. I have no idea what's going on, right? So then the next day, I talk to her and she says, seriously, is that all you have to say to me about the dog? She says that to me. And I'm thinking, like, what are you, at the time I didn't know what I was like, what are you talking about? What, like, what is the problem? So can you see how, like, it not only is it crazy and, as in my opinion, cruel that she didn't mention the dog to me or give me a chance to say goodbye. She didn't say anything about it. And then she tried to, like, in her twisted, warped mind, tried to somehow make me the problem. Like I did something wrong because I didn't, I guess, figure out that she had the dog put down fast enough or something. Like, what, you know what I mean? So this is an example of dealing with narcissists, but that's not normal, right? She wanted me to believe that that's normal, right? Like she's in the right and I'm in the wrong because I didn't just, I guess, magically know that she was putting the dog down, or I didn't figure it out. And so I said, what happened to, then it gets even crazier somehow. I said, what happened to her name was Sadie. What about Sadie? And she refused to answer me. And she never answered me. She never answered. Like she just went on her business. Like I'm supposed, and so you see the mind games that's going on there, and this is what it's completely insane. It's completely unokay, but they want you to believe that, and that's just one example, but they want you to believe that their version of reality is normal and that you're doing something wrong because you didn't accept their, so one of the ways of, overcoming narcissistic abuse is learning how to sort of rewire your brain's thinking to realize what's rational and what's healthy, normal thinking and behavior versus what's irrational and unhealthy, ineffective behavior. And you'll notice that the rational, healthy behavior patterns or thought processes will make you feel good, and the irrational, unhealthy behavior patterns or thoughts will make you feel kind of confused or bad, or, and so then it'll be easier to kind of find your way out of that, inner psychological maze that the narcissist puts you in, so you can get back to your core self and get back to reality, right? So, it's just one thing after the other. In the narcissist's mind, all their behavior is normal, and the one that's crazy is you. But the truth is, the one that's crazy is them. And what I share with you was just one example of sort of crazy making, because then it's like, because what it is also is like the dog, and this is how messed up it is. Like, as messed up as it was to do that to me by not sharing with me what happened to our dog or whatever, like letting me say goodbye or something, like she's just playing these mind games, where I'm trying to not only figure out what happened to the dog, but also try to figure out like where she's coming from. And at the end of the day, like, the dog was put down, right? Like it should have been a funeral for the dog, so to speak, or But the narcissist, if you notice, the narcissist once again used the opportunity to make it about her, right? Because I was thinking in my mind, like, what's going on with this lady, right? So even though I know she's crazy and I'm trying to figure it out, my focus is still on her, right? Instead of the dog. It's just really crazy. So this is part of crazy making. So if you're ever confused and wondering, like, if it's you or if it's them, just remind yourself that constant conflict is not normal. Constantly trying to yell at someone or make them wrong, that's not normal. There's rational, healthy ways of dealing with things that are normal. In the case of the dog being put down, the rational, healthy thing would be to communicate to me that you're going to do that and saying, hey, would you like to say goodbye, or maybe give her one last hug or something? and then, maybe like feel, spend a little time like just sort of like remembering Sadie, I guess. You don't have to have a whole funeral, but I mean, how crazy and unbelievably cruel, and how many mind games just in that one instance was there, in that example. You know what I mean? So it's not normal. And I'm sure you've had this in your family or with your narcissist. Constant fighting and conflict is not normal. And with that, we will conclude this video for today. If you're interested in learning more about narcissistic personality disorder, narcissistic abuse, or CPTSD, there are helpful links in the description below. If you're struggling with CPTSD and would like to heal and get your life back, Healing from CPTSD also has a course available that will help you to do that in a simple yet powerful way. All links are in the description below.